The Canadian men's national team played in their first World Cup in 36 years, and despite it not going according to plan, it could still have a significant impact on the futures of some of our Canadian stars. After all, that's what happens when you play on the world's biggest stage. All eyes are on you, and it can take just one match to lead to a big European move. Today, I am taking a look at the Canadian men's national team players who I believe could be in for a big transfer in the January window. So hopefully you guys are excited for this, and if you are, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub, and let's get into the video now. Two players who will not be on this list are Ishmael Kone and Alistair Johnston because they have already secured moves to Watford and Celtic respectively. Otherwise, these two players would have been on the list because they both had incredible seasons for CF Montreal and had strong showings at the World Cup. First up, we will be taking a look at Tajon Buchanan, who I believe had a positive tournament. Tajon Buchanan, like the Canadian men's national team, had an incredible rise. He caught everybody's attention during the qualifying for the Olympics where he scored those 2 goals. He then went on to star for the New England Revolution, and after all that, getting into the Canadian men's national team got him his move to Club Brugge. Now things are really heating up in the transfer mill. This was partially due to his World Cup performance, as he was a menace in all 3 matches, consistently making defenders struggle to deal with his pace and crossing ability. The only real negative thing I had about Tajon's World Cup performances was the fact that his finishing ability wasn't always there. Despite not finding the back of the net, he did do enough to gain a ton of interest in recent weeks, as it's reported that Sevilla, Juventus, AC Milan, and Napoli are all keeping tabs on him. Now let's digest these clubs one at a time, starting with Napoli. Out of all those clubs linked with Tajon Buchanan, the one I like the most is Napoli because they play attack-minded football, they are sitting atop of Serie A, and they are in the round of 16 in the Champions League. Spalletti has done an incredible job at nurturing young talent and helping these players reach a new level. Tajon Buchanan could be the perfect addition for Napoli for a few different reasons. One of the biggest reasons is the fact that Lozano is linked with the move out of the club. Lozano has been playing on the left-hand and right-hand side in this 4-3-3 system under Spalletti, and that's the beauty about the versatility of Tajon Buchanan. We've seen him play as a wing-back, as a winger, and I personally think that when he plays up top as a winger, especially in a 4-3-3 system, is when you're going to get him at his best. Going down one spot in Serie A to second place in the table is AC Milan, and that is another club that is being linked with Buchanan. AC Milan are also in the round of 16 in the Champions League, and they too play an attack-minded brand of football in a 4-2-3-1 system. There is not a direct opening for Tajon Buchanan to walk into this starting 11, but there is an opportunity to work his way in. Currently, AC Milan are playing Junior Macias at the right attacking mid and have had a few different players play in that position. However, Tajon Buchanan brings a completely different style of player, and I think that he could have the potential to break into that starting 11 given the fact that he is pacey, he's got the ability to take players on 1v1, and I think he can link up very well with Olivier Giroud up front. AC Milan as a club are in a very healthy position, similar to Napoli. They are the defending Scudetto champions, they have a great manager that's going to be locked down for a few years to come, and this could be a great opportunity for Tajon to take that step to a top 5 league, settle in a little bit, wait for his opportunity, and hopefully take it. Now you might be seeing a bit of a trend here, but the third club that is linked with Tajon Buchanan is Juventus, who sit 3rd in the Serie A. So we have Napoli who sit 1st, AC Milan 2nd, and now Juventus 3rd, all targeting Buchanan. Unlike Napoli and AC Milan, unfortunately Juventus got eliminated in the group stage in the Champions League, and they'll be competing in the new year in the round of 32 in the Europa League. Max Allegri is back at the wheel, and Juve definitely have a different style compared to Napoli and AC Milan, and they are currently playing in a 3-5-2 system. This makes Buchanan's position at Juventus different than the ones at Napoli and AC Milan. They're a little bit more defensive responsibility, as he'd be featuring as a left wing back or a right wing back. Buchanan can definitely feature as a wing back. We've seen him do it at club level and for the national team. However, I'd really like to see Buchanan take a step in his career to play a little bit further up the pitch. That's when I personally think he's at his best. The attack-minded ability that he has is second to none, and I think he's restricted when he's forced to play backwards. However, when looking at this Juventus side, it's not always a bad thing. Juan Cuadrado also started out as a winger and he progressed a little bit deeper, but he still has a ton of attacking ability and helps really balance this team. Buchanan could be looked at as the potential Cuadrado replacement. So going to Juventus playing in a team like this gives him a little bit more defense-minded awareness around his game and could eventually lead to a pathway to become a starter at that right-hand side. At the end of the day, Napoli, AC Milan, and Juventus are all massive clubs, and they would be very attracted to a player like Tajon Buchanan. The biggest issue I have around these clubs is mainly with Juventus, and it's the fact, like I mentioned, that AC Milan and Napoli are in good, healthy positions right now. Juventus have a ton going on at that club right now, from top to bottom, and I just don't know if it's the perfect environment for Buchanan. Yes, it's a great club. Yes, it's a great league, but off the pitch, I think there could be some issues. Finally, on to the fourth club that is linked with Tajon Buchanan. We are leaving the Serie A and we are heading to La Liga because that club is Sevilla. Sevilla are doing drastically different than the other three clubs I mentioned, as they are currently sitting in 18th place in the La Liga table. This is a side that finished in 4th last season, so not great. They were also eliminated in the group stage in the Champions League and are competing right now in the round of 32 in the Europa League. As you may expect, with Sevilla sitting in the relegation zone, Lopetegui was sacked and Sampaoli was brought in. Now this is his second spell with Sevilla, and his job is to come in and help basically rebuild this side. Buchanan could be a good addition there because right now he's been playing in different systems. You've seen a couple back threes, but right now I'd say probably the 4-2-3-1 is the one he's going to go with, and that leaves an opportunity for Buchanan to potentially shine. Surprisingly enough though, there is a ton of competition on the wings, although I bet Buchanan would back himself to break into the starting 11. You have Januzaj, Lamela, Suso who can play on either flanks, but like I mentioned with the versatility of Buchanan, he can do that as well. There are also some reports stating Buchanan has some Premier League interest, although no clubs are mentioned. It is also assumed that whatever club he joins in January, he could be loaned back to Club Brugge for the remainder of the season. This could help with the AC Milan move because as things stand right now, Rafael Leao is set to depart the club at the end of the season, so Buchanan could be his replacement for the start of the 2023 season. This could be an ideal move for Buchanan going back to Club Brugge where he is playing, going into the round of 16 for the Champions League and finishing his season strong before joining up with his new club. Tajon Buchanan was always going to be the Canadian player to use this World Cup to leap to a top 5 league. And that's honestly potentially what's going to happen. But if I was going to take a look at the teams that are linked with him, this is the list I would like to see him go to in order. First would be Napoli, second AC Milan, third Juventus, and fourth Sevilla. Basically just given on the state of the club. Nothing against La Liga, I think he would do well there, but Sevilla is just not the club for me. Juventus with their financial issues and whatnot, not the club for me. And honestly, the other two, I don't have much of a preference. The only reason I'm giving the edge to Napoli is because there's a potential opening with Chucky Lozano leaving the club. The next player we are moving on to is Jonathan David, and similar to Buchanan, we were expecting Jonathan David to have a big World Cup performance and get that move to a top club in a top 5 league. He is with Lille right now in Ligue 1, which is a good club in a top 5 league, but I'm talking Premier League, a top club in Serie A or La Liga, and unfortunately, I don't know if his performances at the World Cup could get him that move. Despite not having the best of performances at the World Cup, there are still a couple of transfer rumors that are swinging around Jonathan David. The first club is one I've mentioned many times, and that is Manchester United, who currently are having a bit of an up and down season. They had a poor start, but Erik ten Hag has found his way, and right now they currently sit in 5th place in the Premier League. They're in the round of 32 in the Europa League, and they play a 4-2-3-1 system that could have an opening as a striker. We all know the opening is there because Cristiano Ronaldo has left the club, meaning that Martial is really the only striker right now that Jonathan David may have to compete with. There will be a ton of pressure on Jonathan David if he made the move from a club like Lille to Manchester United. However, because it's this type of move, it doesn't come around all that often, and there is an opening in a position and in a system that I think Jonathan David would thrive at. This is an opportunity he can't let slip. Manchester United is not the only Premier League club to show interest in Jonathan David, as Chelsea rumors keep resurfacing, and that could be an intriguing one as well. Chelsea has had an up and down season similar to Manchester United, although they have lost a manager. They've sacked Thomas Tuchel and brought in Graham Potter, who's trying to turn the ship around, but right now they currently sit 8th place in the table. They are in the round of 16 in the Champions League. They play attack-minded brand of football. They feature in a 3-4-2-1 system, and there's the potential that a striker position could be open for Jonathan David. Right now, the two strikers that Chelsea have is Kai Havertz and Broja. Havertz isn't truly a number 9, and Broja has struggled to do it at this type of level with Chelsea. And I think with Jonathan David's success right now in a top 5 league with Lille, making this type of adjustment, playing in a system with a manager that's going to back him, could lead Jonathan David for success. Osorio's European dream is looking less likely, as the latest reports state that he will sign a new deal with TFC. Osorio did turn down the opportunity to move to the Greek league, as it seems like he's interested in moving to a top 5 league instead. His age is probably the biggest thing holding him back, and he also didn't have that World Cup boost he was probably banking on. Osorio has been with TFC since 2013, and he's already a club legend. Resigning with TFC is a safe bet, and he could potentially be joined by one of his best mates, Lucas Cavallini. Cavallini is currently a free agent ever since leaving the Whitecaps, and the opportunity to go to Toronto, play with one of his best friends, and get service from the likes of Bernardeschi and Insigne may be too good of an opportunity to pass up on. Next up is a player who I personally believe had a successful World Cup campaign, and that is Kamal Miller. Now, Kamal Miller, surprisingly enough, has not had a ton of transfer rumors circling him going to Europe, but there could be a few different clubs that I think could work, as well as maybe even locally. Kamal Miller was one of the standout performers for Canada at the World Cup, playing every second of the 3 matches. He had the 5th highest passing grade at the 2022 World Cup, only behind the likes of Pedri, Bruno Fernandes, Manuel Akanji, and Casemiro. All of his strong performances for Canada and CF Montreal over the past 18 months have finally gained Miller some interest, as it's reported by Tom Bogart that Miller has some interest from abroad, not mentioning any specific leagues or clubs. I personally would like to see Miller move to a league that I believe will help him transition into the European game. The Dutch league or the Belgium league would be great shouts, but I think another one as well could be a mid-table team in Ligue 1. No clubs may be linked to Kamal Miller right now. However, given his performances for CF Montreal and the Canadiens national team, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a transfer in his future. This next player is truly living the Canadian soccer dream. He started out in the Canadian Premier League with Calvary, earning a move to Major League Soccer with CF Montreal, and now he's being linked with Fenerbahce in the Turkish league. Joel Waterman, unlike Kamal Miller, didn't play second at the World Cup for Canada, but that is not stopping interest in him. In the past couple of weeks, it's been reported that Fenerbahce are looking to sign him, as well as new links reported by Tom Bogart that Besiktas want to sign him as well. Besiktas have a long history of signing Canadian players to great success, as Atiba Hutchinson is still on their books and is a club legend. Besiktas were also able to get the best out of Kyle Larin during his 4.5-year spell with the club. Adana Demirspor, who terminated the contract of Ukrainian defender Yaroslav Rakitsky, are also tracking Joel Waterman along with clubs in Germany, Austria, Greece, and Turkey. Some of those clubs are believed to be Schalke and Cologne from the Bundesliga, Salzburg from the Austrian Bundesliga, AEK Athens and Panathinaikos from Greece, and as already mentioned, Adana Demirspor, Fenerbahce, and Besiktas from Turkey. The interest in Waterman is simply incredible. The fact that he was playing back in the Canadian Premier League in 2019 and he's now being linked to massive clubs in Europe is a testament to just how impressive Waterman's rise truly was. Personally, I would like to see him go to 2 of those clubs. The first one being Adana Demirspor, because I want to see Waterman have the opportunity to walk into a situation where he could start right away. Adana Demirspor are currently sitting 3rd place in the table and are targeting European football next season, which is why they're actively looking for a center back to replace Rakitsky. The other club I would like to see him go to is Cologne. I personally think that if any Canadian has the opportunity to go to the Bundesliga, they should take it, because this league is proven to be a great fit for North American talent. Cologne could also use some help on the back end as well as they look to avoid relegation this season. There is probably less of a chance that Waterman would walk into Cologne's starting 11, but he would be in a top 5 league and he would look to capitalize on opportunity when it arises. The next move for Waterman will be a crucial one. With Vitória being 35 years old and coming to the end of his international career, Waterman could be his natural replacement. Moving to Europe will help Waterman take his game to another level. I think a realistic goal for the Canadian men's national team for the 2026 World Cup would be for their starting 11 to all be playing in Europe. There are some rumors going on in this video as well as some speculation, so definitely let me know in the comments down below what you thought about all these, if there's any players I missed, and which ones that you would like to see happen. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub, and we'll see you soon. Cheers, friends!